Hey guys, how you doing? It's Raymond, Stewart Trains 98. I'm here out working on the layout, getting the new section ready that I'm going to add to the yard, the 4-foot section. Thought I'd take a few minutes to show you how I put my benchwork together. This is a way, my way, not necessarily the way. I found that it works for me and the style of benchwork that I'm using. It's kind of like a modular setup, but it's sectional because not one section will interchange with another section like Fremo or any of those type of modular layouts. It's sectional as in each piece is a section, and it's not really interchangeable. So if you move, take the layout down, the layout goes up pretty much the same way. Of course, you can modify it, to whatever you want at a later point, but as built, it's what it is. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how I assemble my benchwork, the ways that I do it, why I do it this way, and maybe you get some ideas for your layout, whether it's going to be designed to be taken down or moved later, or just a permanent layout. There's some of this stuff that it's interchangeable with all types of layout building. So figured I'd show you what I'm doing, how I do it, and maybe it'll help you out, give you some ideas, thoughts. If not, hey, I still appreciate it. Thanks for watching. Here, and take the camera off, tripod, and I'm going to show you what I do, how I do it, and why I do it. Okay guys, right here is a drill jig that I use to connect the modules together. As you can see, it says up. That means up toward the sky, the ceiling, and a join drill template. So that way I don't use it for something other than what it's designed to be used for. What I do is, this is your outer runner of the 2x6 frame. This is 1x4. So I can bring that in to the very edge of this board that runs the, if you stand it up, it would, like with the 6-foot section down on the ground, this would be your vertical end cap. So what I got here is I got a 5/16 inch thread bolt, about 3 inches long. Got a washer. So what I do is I stick that through both of those like that. Got a washer for the other back side. Take that, stick that on there. Then I got me a butterfly thumb screw. Take that, stick it up under here, and of course it don't want to cooperate. There we go. And then I just tighten that up. That way you can make adjustments on there to get your top level across. So that's how I do the end plate, and I'll show you more here in a few minutes. Okay guys, well, I'm sitting in the chair, so I'm going to show you how I do the legs and how I support them. So we're going to go up under the layout here, and right there is where the leg sits in what I call a leg pocket. It's basically just, what is it, like a 2x2. It's cut off, and then just like a piece of 1x4, 1x3, something like that, just screwed across. And the leg just sticks right up in that. And as you can see here, there's the bolt there, and right there where the modules are joined together, and that's the bus. And just that's how I connect the bus to each section, just a jumper wire, and that's repeated throughout the layout. Alright, so once I get this leg put in, it just sits in that pocket that I just showed you, and then it's got feet on the bottom of it here, so I can adjust that leg up and down as needed. And then what I do is, as you can see, I got a piece right there, 1x4, I don't know, it's maybe 6, 7, I don't know, inches long, and all that does is lock those pieces of the legs together. From, like, if you kick it, as you can see, I'm kicking it there, it's not moving. Well, I'm not kicking as in forcefully, but bumping it rather forcefully with my foot, I guess. I don't know how you want to term that. Excuse me. And then I've got some horizontal braces, one there, and I got some diagonals here. And that's just, I haven't done the other far side yet. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you over here on the other side of the layout where I've actually done it and how I do it. So up under here, I've got another piece of leg material 2x2 that I cut off, and I cut that at a 45-degree angle there, and then I just stub that the way it is. I don't worry about making the angle on that, and I just screw that. But that block that is vertical, or excuse me, diagonal, is screwed into is I screw that into the layout from the opposite side. Then I screw this diagonal, screw it in right there and up there at the top. And sorry about that. I mean, it's pretty stout. So I mean, it moves some, but I mean, it's right here where these are tied together, you know, that's not really going anywhere. That's just me, the camera moving from me actually shaking and trying to show you how stable this is. I mean, it's really stable. But as you can see, I mean, if you wiggle it, this is the peninsula here. I mean, if you wiggle it, it's going to move. But I'll come back at some point and shore this up a little bit better. So, let's just move the camera here. But anyway, I'll put the camera back on the tripod and talk to you in a minute. Okay guys, well what I'm going to do here is I'm going to show you my method for attaching the backdrop. I know that you're looking at that saying, boy, that's an awfully dull view, but you know what? This is how I do it. It works for me, and hey, you know, whatever works. I've done the same on the side of the layout that is open as the same as I have on the wall. So it's around the layout system that I use. The backdrop material, masonite, is 2 feet in height, 6 feet in depth, as in left to right as you're looking at the video. These boards here can be either 1x3s, 2x or 1x4s, it doesn't matter. But all I do is I take these, the whole purpose of these boards here is so that the masonite, and then if you look down here real close, it's hard to see, but right here I've got a piece of wood right here that this piece attaches to, and it's right here. I'll zoom in and get in closer here in a minute. But anyway, what that does is that allows me to support the entire piece of the backdrop. And I've got 3 of these run across the back. These pieces here, I could probably get away with 2, but to keep it from warping and waving and whatnot during the humidity and temperature changes of the year, I just screw the backdrop to these pieces, and the same up here at the top with this runner right here that you can barely see at the top of the screen. Tilt that camera just a hair so you can see it right there. So I screw the backdrop on the opposite side up in here, and then again to this. Like I said, all this does is keep this piece of backdrop straight. So I'm going to take the camera off the tripod and, what the world, there we go, and show you underneath the layout and then the front of that backdrop to show you what it looks like. Okay guys, well this is the front side. As you can see here, though, that screw right here is the piece that runs up and down. That piece, or that screw there, is the one that runs left to right. And yeah, there's some holes in this. This is recycled material. I've got to clean it with some all-purpose cleaner and repaint it. You know, you see a lot of dust and dirt in it. So I mean, I've got to get that cleaned. But I use a 8x1 screw with a finish washer, and It's going to be painted blue, so I don't really care personally. I mean, it's way up, so, you know, personally, I don't really care. Here, it's kind of a little bit lower than it should be based off that board in the back, but, you know, a few of them are a little bit lower than I'd like right here, you know, it's, you know, what it is. And then I use this material here. It's called a divider. It's made for this material, and you can see right there how that works, how it goes together. Some places, well, in fact, everywhere, it's that's painted right over in there. But I've done it both ways. I've done it where this fat side, per se, the back side is out, and then I'll show you over here on the end scale where I did it the opposite and used the narrow side. So this is, oops, sorry, back up right there, and that's the narrow side. And I actually like that way better, but being as all that backdrop over here on the HO is already attached to that back wall, you know, and those modules, I should say, or sectional pieces are attached to that back wall. That would be a chore to pull that out, so I'm just going to deal with it. This is the material here. It comes in an 8-foot section. Pretty, well, actually really inexpensive. So, like I said, that gets cut into, well, not quite 2-foot sections, probably about 1'8" or whatever you see here from the base of the layout up to the top. So go under here, and these here, that is what I was talking about earlier. The you know, it's like I guess a 2.5, 3-inch piece of 2x2 screwed to that 1x4 or 1x3. If you look really close right here, maybe we can zoom in and see. There's a piece of the backdrop. So basically the backdrop sits on that, so it's even all the way across the bottom of the layout to the other side there. So basically the backdrop sits on that, and then that 1x4 there, or whatever I used, I don't remember, 1x4 or 1x3, is screwed into the frame of the layout, and so it's all pretty rigid when it's all said and done. I mean, it wobbles just a hair, but I mean, you know, it's fairly stout. So I like it. It worked, like I said, it works for me. It's a way, not the way, and I'm happy with it. There's another reason why I've done it, and I'll tell you about that in just a second. I'm actually going to put the camera back on the tripod. Alright guys, so now you're probably asking yourself, why did I build it this way? Why am I doing it this way? Well, I'm going to explain it to you to the best that I can. When the layout needs to be taken apart and moved to a new location, here's my theory behind the way I've built this. This can be done one of two ways. I can strip the layout of all structures, leaving trees and scenery, of course, and do it that way. Or what I can do is I can simply take the layout, take and cut some 1x4s, put on the back side of the backdrop, put on the front side where the fascia is, take the fascia off, because all I do is I screw that on. I don't glue it, I just screw that on. Take the fascia off, take some more 1x4s, take another section of layout. So imagine, if you will, this piece is what you see here. You have the backdrop, you have the layout. So imagine, if you will, for a minute, all the rolling stock, structures, figures, vehicles, anything that is not glued down has been removed off the layout. So what you do is you take those 1x4s, you leave your backdrop on, you take some 1x4s, you screw on here, leave up an excessive amount of height. And then you take another section of the layout. And let me get a piece of wood or something so I can better illustrate this. So what you're doing is basically you're making a sandwich of layout pieces. By that, imagine if you will, this has a backdrop on it on this section right here. You take that and you could lay that side down on the ground. Take that other section and with the backdrop right here, 1x4s, and screw into the outer board here on both sides, screw into the 1x4s, and basically you can make a box that'll protect your scenery, it'll protect your trees, it'll protect your track. And you can move it with two people, but instead of moving one section of the layout at a time, you're moving two, and it's all protected. Now obviously there's other means to it, but I mean if you've already got it, the layout fairly along with a lot of scenery and trees, I use super trees, they're fragile, so if you just take this section of layout, you go to move that, as is, you take the backdrop off, you take the fascia off, unless you build some sort of rack system. In other words, you may take some 1x4s, screw off into the front board here, stand it up, or not stand it up, but say this is on, set this on the ground, screw a 1x4 in there, a couple feet high, and you could stack make like shelves. But you could do that, or you could do it the other way with a box. I mean, there's several different methods to how this can come apart and be screwed together and still maintain integrity of the sections of track or the sectional modules, whatever. I went through a lot of, I'm rambling. Yeah, I get that. That's fine with me. If you don't like it, I'm sorry. But to me, it made sense when I designed the layout to design it this way so it could be moved. And you could maintain what you have accomplished without destroying very much. So anyway, I'm going to end this video. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope it gave you some ideas maybe. And if not, hey, a tip, maybe you can share with somebody else. Pass it on. Never hurts to share in this hobby or any other hobby. So that's it for this video. Like I said, this is not a how-to video. It's not necessarily the way. It's a way. It's my way. It's what's working with this layout. So hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you next time. And as always, keep an eye down the track for the green signals. See you.